It's not real. You understand? Everything is fake. This situation is not real. Go home. It's all over. Thanks.
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. Let's see whose 2024 presidential media strategy was smarter. Kamala Harris, whose entire party owns the corporate media, decided to do one long-form podcast. The podcast Call Her Daddy, a sex podcast, hosted her inside of a fake studio that was built for $100,000 of campaign money, which looks like garbage. And, I mean, whatever you think of the content of the podcast, it was horrible. But let's go ahead and look at the results here. This is arguably a big, you can't argue with it. It's a big interview, right? You got the first big long form podcast with one of the two parties' nominees. You'd assume a lot of people would want to see it. But it got 900,000 views. And this has been up for like now months. The channel itself has 1 million subs. So it's actually doing not hitting 1 million views with a presidential candidate is wild. That's the first comment. Look at that. It's amazing. 30,000 comments. Theo Von talking to a plumber would get more views than this. 100,000 for this, and it got less than 1 million hits. Harris campaign advisors are brilliant. Trump got over 25 million in 24 hours. She can't get 1 million a month later. Sums up her campaign and popularity. Who all came here just for the comments? It's amazing. What they're talking about is, of course, Donald Trump's media strategy, which was to go on a lot of different shows, a lot of independent shows, a lot of podcasts. Joe Rogan, of course, is the one that comes to mind because it's the biggest, and it did 52 million views. This is just on YouTube. 500,000 comments. Of course, the comments are going to be very, very different. This is the greatest content in the history of the internet. Podcasts are officially more important than traditional media now. Who's watching post-Trump victory? The final boss of podcast meets the final boss of guests. Shane Gillis is getting really good at this. I mean, it's actually a comment section you want to be in, right? This just goes to show how dumb the Kamala Harris campaign was. They traded a Rogan interview, which, listen, if Kamala Harris had gone on Joe Rogan, a lot of people would have seen it. But she couldn't. Donald Trump said so. She'd be crying and rolling in the corner. Kamala Harris would never be able to withstand 3 hours of Joe Rogan questioning. You can only lie for so long. You can't keep up a lie for 3 straight hours of live interview. You can keep up a lie for like a couple minutes. This is the nature of liars. Just to show you exactly why Kamala Harris couldn't have done Joe Rogan. And a reminder, they passed on Joe Rogan. They passed on Joe Rogan, according to the reports, because her millennial staffers thought Joe Rogan was a naughty, mean man. That's right. This has been credentially reported out. Her Gen Z and millennial staffers thought Joe Rogan was ick and didn't have the right vibes. So even though she was in Texas, she decided to pay Beyonce $10 million to walk on stage for 2 minutes instead of go to Joe Rogan. And you want to put this person in charge of decision. I mean, this is America truly dodged a bullet in every possible sense. Here's what Joe Rogan was missing.
I want to pose this question more to you and the Daddy Gang, but one of the biggest conversations in this year's election revolves around a woman's body.
Yep.
I want to take a moment, and can we try to think of any law that gives the government the power to make a decision
I know what you're going to ask.
about a man's body? Let's
No.
just pause.
No.
Is there any?
The answer is yes, you idiots. You absolute bird brains. The answer is yes. It's called the Selective service, and men have to sign up for it when they're 18, otherwise they get put in prison, so the government can draft our bodies into war zones and kill us. You'd think the commander-in-chief would care about something like that. Apparently not.
Any law?
No. It's no.
This stuff is so grotesque.
To put it in our TikTok terms, I have seen girls on the street walk up to men and be like, do you know where a tampon goes? Do you know how many tampons we use? Do you even know how, like, do you know what a X or Y or Z is of a part of our, and they don't know the answer.
I was the first vice president or president to ever in office go to a reproductive health care clinic.
Good for you. That means you should be president.
Daddy gangs.
You know? Like it really, yeah. And careful the friends that you make. Okay. So while Joe Rogan is hyping up Trump and is saying he's going to go do a podcast from Mar-a-Lago, Alice Cooper is trashing Kamala Harris now. Oh, it's great. You know, you make the bed, you lie in it. Lied in a lot of beds. You know what I mean? Lied in bed, like lied in the beds, like she's a liar and she lied in bed. You got it? No, get it? Got it? Yeah, okay. Oh, doesn't work. Podcaster Alex Cooper mocked Kamala Harris. Spent $100,000 on Call Her Daddy set. My studio doesn't even cost six figures. So Alex Cooper, I guess to her credit, and there's not a lot of credit for Alex Cooper to go around, is like laughing and cringing and whinging at the fact that Kamala Harris spent $100,000 on this garbage set, this set. Our set looks way cooler than the Kamala Harris Call Her Daddy interview, and this cost like $10, $100 probably, a little more than that, but not even in the universe of six figures. Look at this. What a piece of garbage. Okay, here we go. Let's read. Alice Cooper hosts a popular Call Her Daddy. Is it really that popular? Kamala Harris campaign team for spending $100,000 to build a mock-up of her set, saying her own studio does not even cost six figures. She said this during a New York Times Deal Book Summit. Let's listen.
A little bit of controversy about that podcast because you did.
Oh.
Do you know about this?
No, what?
Because in D.C., this interview happened in D.C.
Yeah.
In a hotel.
Yeah. Not in a hotel. It was like a random house.
It was like random house. But apparently, you can tell me, they spent, meaning the Harris campaign spent like $100,000.
I did see
you
that.
know about this?
It's hilarious.
To build the studio.
Yeah, that's not true.
Not true. To make it look like it was the studio that you used in L.A.
My studio that is gorgeous in Los Angeles doesn't even cost six figures. So I don't know how cardboard walls could cost six figures, but.
But do you think they did that? I mean, you saw it.
Absolutely not. With love to them. Oh my God, it was gorgeous, but like, it wasn't that nice. It wasn't like gorgeous marble. Like, no, that was not six figures.
So what she's saying there, and what the interviewer is going getting a little awkward with, is the fact that she's admitting that this is fraud. The entire campaign is a Ponzi scheme to pay off celebrities. This is why they're paying all of their celebrity friends, like Al Sharpton, to Oprah, to Beyonce, these multimillionaires or billionaires, all this cash, because it was a Ponzi scheme to defraud Democrat grassroots donors and then fork it over to left-wing millionaires and billionaires. It's incredible. She's saying there's no way that it costs that much. Okay. This is not being, call her liar. This is not being received well on the internet. This is these clips are going thermonuclear viral. No, it was a cardboard walls. There's no way that it cost six figures. Well, this is an accounting trick in order to funnel money to other things, right? So you say it costs $100,000 to build that set, and then you pocket the cash. It only costs $10,000, and then you pocket the money. Even Call Her Daddy acknowledges that the fake set shouldn't have cost Kamala Harris $100,000. Spending an unnecessary, exorbitant amount of money for fake propagandized interviews is a microcosm of how Kamala Harris would have ran the country, dodging a bullet, literally. Compare the Call Her Daddy set, which didn't even cost six figures to build, with the one-off set that the Kamala Harris Walls campaign spent $100,000 to build. With cardboard walls and a fake marble table, the Kamala campaign was money laundering grift. That's right. So this is the studio that she has in LA, and this is the studio that they created. I mean, it looks like much more garbage. Seriously, this is a much better studio. I spend my entire day and night and life in the studio. That's a much better studio. This is trash. That's trash. She doesn't understand that the campaign was a giant grift. Yes, that's exactly right. And the joke's on Democrats who donated. And it makes me very sad and it makes me angry, and I'll say it once for the final time. There are good Democrats who live out there who we should pray for them. They've been psyoped and they've been mentally broken by the largest psyop in human history, using the most expensive tools and the most sophisticated technology to break the brains of weak people. And they are weak, and we should pray for them. And those people reached into their pockets under a crippling economy and in such terrible economic times where they probably didn't have any money, and they gave like $20 to Kamala Harris. And then Kamala Harris stole that money and then defrauded them and laundered it to all of her friends, knowing she would lose. And we know that they would lose because they said that they never had internal polling that said that Kamala Harris was going to win. So they ran a fraud on their donors, the American people. Kamala Harris raised $1.5 billion. And they stole all of it and then forked it over to their rich friends. It's literally the opposite of what they say. They consider themselves Robin Hood. It's like the opposite. Stealing from the poor and giving to the rich. It's exactly what they did. And everybody who was defrauded by Kamala Harris should file a massive lawsuit against the campaign. I mean, that's what should happen. And then never vote Democrat again. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See you.